On this Gun Talk Hunt, we're talking all about your backcountry medical supplies and what you need to head out in the field. Join us right now.
Hey, I'm KJ, dedicated lifelong hunter here. If you got an interest in all things hunting, you're in the right spot. Whether chasing quail across the plains of Oklahoma or in pursuit of elk in the backcountry of British Columbia, you'll always find me on the hunt.
All right, welcome in all you Gun Talk hunters out there. Thanks for listening. And just before we move forward in this podcast, I wanted to let you guys know that in the description, you're going to find a list of products that we're going to talk about here. So if you're really interested in this stuff, you can go down there, click on it. These are affiliate links, so we may receive monetization back if you decide to purchase. If not, no worries. This is just some of the stuff I carry in the backcountry and on my person every day. And I've got a great story for you that it does come in handy. So without further ado, this Gun Talk Hunt is brought to you by Timney Triggers and Range Ready Studios. So if you're going to buy a new trigger, go to Timney. If you need some training, come to us, rangereadystudios.com. All right, let's jump into this. Okay. There I am. I head out into the backcountry, and I'm driving up to Canada. So my trip took us all the way from the beautiful plains of Oklahoma, all the way up through Denver, picked up my dad for a hunt, and we drove all the way. So I was on the road for 36 hours, pretty much straight, which sounds crazy, and it is. So what do you pack? You pack all your necessities. You pack your gun, your ammo, and your packs, and you get all this stuff. But a lot of times we hard focus on the hunting aspect of it and the adventure of it. And a lot of times our backcountry health and stability of our whole operation kind of goes out the window. And what do I mean by that? A lot of times we do not prepare for things that do not happen in the backcountry, that happen on the road. A 36-hour trip up to Canada, there's a long time in between where things can happen, bad things. And that's kind of what happened. And man, it's so vivid in my memory. But we make our way up there. We get up to the hunting grounds, and I'm in the backcountry, and I'm doing the hunting, and I harvest an elk, and I'm driving into town to get a hamburger because I've been eating freaking granola the entire week, and I'm kind of tired of it. So we pack up and we make the 45 to 50-minute trip back into town, and we're coming back, and everything seems fine. Everything seems fine, and there's this little stretch of road that is dropping you off into basically this big, big canyon. And the road is tight, it's windy, and my dad and I were the first to arrive on an accident. And it involves a little Tacoma truck and a semi truck. So it is not good. So what happened was, I'm guessing the guy was coming, he was going down and the truck was coming up. Well, the truck takes a little bit wider turn. The guy was looking down or distracted. Maybe he was distracted by the beautiful view, because it right at that spot is absolutely gorgeous. And it was a head-on collision. And if you're ever wondering what happens to a Tacoma and a semi-truck when they meet, it's bad. It's bad for the little Tacoma. And so that right there, you immediately spring into action. You immediately, go into, okay, call 911. You're sitting there directing people, but you also got to render aid. And if you do not have the right supplies to start acting, man, you're kind of a observer. You're just in the position to where you're sitting there and you're looking. Also had an instance, a dog might need sutures. So we've all been thrust into situations, whether it be backcountry or in our daily lives, that require medical needs. And if you're not prepared to render aid, why do you carry all this stuff? So one, go get some training, go take a stop the bleed course, go do something of that nature. I took a stop the bleed course. I try to take one of those at least every year. And always to refresh the memory. And I've certified in the North American, whatever it is. I forget what the nomenclature on it is, but I got certified there. I had some instances when I was a lifeguard. It just kind of is in my nature to be prepared medically, and I'm going to go through some of these kits that we've got. But to follow up the story, I get up to the Tacoma, and the guy's in really bad shape. There was a guy come following the semi who had arrived to help render aid, and they were keeping him stationary, and he couldn't get out of the vehicle. So we needed to do something right there. His leg was absolutely crushed. And the first thing you notice in something like that, you start looking for punctures, you start looking for stuff like that. And so, you're looking, you're visual first, and then your hands on. There was a lot of blood. And you could tell like there was a little bit of gurgling blood. And okay, go back, bring my first aid kit. First thing, pull out, and this guy probably to this day does not like me because I had to put a tourniquet on him, and it was the most uncomfortable thing in I guess it was probably the second most uncomfortable thing, because probably seeing that semi coming up on him was probably the first one. But had to apply a tourniquet. And if you've never done that, or if you've never applied a tourniquet, it is excruciating. It should be excruciating because you're really starting to like stop that bleed. You want to stop that vein from retracting up into, the hip area or wherever it is, to stop that bleed, or at least to slow it. It was very uncomfortable because, when you're trying to go in and attach a tourniquet within a vehicle, it's just awkward, and it was just, I can still see it to this day. And it made me very glad. The guy ended up, ambulances were there. Everything was great. Like, they were very happy to see that someone was prepared on site. They were there pretty quick. So that was nice to see too, because they were there within 5 minutes, but that absolutely could have ended in a death situation had they not shown up that quick, because man, an arterial bleed like that is devastating, and it's quick. And you don't realize how quick it can be until you see it. And so tourniquet, first and foremost, always on me. And I've got a little one here. This is a little rat's tourniquet. Not my favorite. It's more or less like a bungee. And man, I would use this second to the cats, like the cat tourniquet that I've got here in my other hand, already set up to be deployed. I see a lot of guys always have these in the packages, and the Velcro, where the handless is, or the listless is, windlass. So windlass is covered. You want this thing prepared to go. Like, you don't want to have to, okay, I've got to unpackage it, because seconds count when you're talking about backcountry, like accidents or any type of situation. You want it ready to go. You want it to where it's easily deployed. Like, you want it at hand, like at arm's length at all times. Never go home, never go anywhere without this sucker. But the cat tourniquet, what I do like about it is that it takes up no space. I mean, the cat tourniquet doesn't take any space either, but the rat's tourniquet, it's almost like a little bungee cord. And there's a little simple way that you can actually almost wear this with a belt. So it could be around your waist while you hunt, which is very nice because it's definitely on you all the time. So look at that. The rat's tourniquet is a nice option if you're looking to cut weight and all stuff like that. This episode is brought to you by Timney Triggers. Thank you, Timney Triggers, for all that you do. Hey, have you guys heard that they have partnered with Remington Arms, and now every Remington 700 that comes out of that factory will have a Timney trigger in it, which is really super cool. I think it's one of the marrying two iconic companies that just, man, they just scream like a match made in heaven. And I've had some time behind some of the guns, and the Alpha One was probably my favorite. Although they offer a tactical version in 308 in a Remington 700 with an Impact 700 trigger that is amazing. But all you guys out there that are like, well, I already have a Remington gun and I want a Timney trigger, they offer the same triggers that they're putting in the Remington Arms available separately. So if you've already got a Remington, you can install one of their new Impact 700 triggers. Highly recommended. Go to timneytriggers.com. And hey, how about Range Ready? I've taken a couple classes with Range Ready, and I mean taken them. I haven't observed them. I haven't audited them. I took these courses, and it's all one course I took was semi-auto pistol. The other one was diagnostic pistol instructor course. Both phenomenal courses. And that was all dedicated towards pistol shooting. Well, direct correlation. What's on a long gun and a handgun that deserves the most attention? It's your trigger press. And I have been working out my flaws with the pistol, which is in turn helping my rifle shooting. So I view it as a more of a dual practice session there. So if you're looking for a course to take, we have new ones up. Some of them are already sold out. We're offering experiences. We have a Colt experience. We have a Ruger experience with EOTech. So there is a lot of stuff coming down the pipe, and I'm going to go ahead and say it. We are going to offer a reloading class brought to you by Hodgdon. So you're going to definitely want to stay up to date on that. Sign up for the Range Ready Studios newsletter at rangereadystudios.com. All right, back to our kit and what we're taking into the field and being all cool medical people. I am not a doctor. I'm not a nurse. I am not telling you how to save someone's life. All I am delivering to you is what I do in the backcountry. I've taken some Stop the Bleed courses and some other medic training courses just to help myself be better prepared to act. So this is not medical advice. This is just what I use. All right, let's get into some more product. So I carry this little pack. This is from Med Plus Packs. This is from My Medic, and a lot of this stuff is from My Medic. They don't sponsor the show. I just like the way their packs fit. I like the stuff that they put in them. I will take out some of their stuff and put some of my own stuff in there that I'm comfortable with. But it's a great starter. But just make sure you go through it instead of when an emergency happens, you're not sitting there looking and going, "Wow, you've got to familiarize yourself with all this stuff." So this is a little Pet Medic. So it says it's the best first aid supplies for dogs on the planet. Well, it is, and it isn't, because there's some stuff missing in here. And, you know, if you're going to have to, I'm just going to tell you, this is like antiseptic, gauze pads. This is for little cuts and little nicks and stuff for your dog in the field. This will not be the thing that you're going to use to suture up your dog if it runs under a barbed wire fence, because I've had this happen, or impales itself on a piece of rebar running through the woods. And that was another interesting one. My buddy, man, I need to get him on here to talk about this, because he was, this was a big gaping wound. One of those that you're like, this is going to take a little bit more than stitches. This is going to be a Staples type of situation. But dog running through the woods and just got excited chasing down a bird and impaled himself on a piece of rebar. So we rushed that dog to a vet. Thankfully, I had a vet's number local vet in the area, and man, that dog's still alive, and that dog had a lot of staples in it. So this is more or less like a boo-boo kit for your pup, or for, I guess, man, if you're taking a cat out there hunting, I'm sorry. Like, we need to have a serious conversation. But no, it's very easy. It's very packable. I keep it in my truck. But that is from my medic. Another one, hey, just because you're in the backcountry doesn't mean you have to take a giant pack. Now, this pack in front of me, this is a bigger pack. This is something we carry every day on the range. So anytime we're out here shooting or anything, we've got crew on staff, we take this sucker out because it has a lot of good gear in it. And it's all color-coded, which is a nice thing about my medic. So guys, you got to familiarize yourself with this stuff. I'm going to open it up here. It's probably not the sexiest audio over the airwaves, but I apologize. See, this is another thing. Like, if you don't operate this stuff and you don't maintain it, it can get stuck, or it can get in a position where it makes it uncomfortable or cumbersome to access. So you open it up here, you've got, I mean, it's a massive, there's chest compresses in here, and there's see here, this is a prime example right here. And this is something that we take on the range. This is a rat's tourniquet. This is the exact same thing as what's in here. Now, what we do is we keep our tourniquets separate. This one literally was taken and placed in the back. That does you no good. That is not good. That's why I like to keep them separate, because if you're going through this thing, and it's just frustrating. We got this one in a couple weeks ago, and it's very, very well organized. Micro mins, we've got some stuff. I don't know why you need a space blanket, but if you're heading the backcountry and it gets cold and you want to pack a bigger thing, this has it all. This has stop the bleed stuff. This has your gauze kit. This has your granules to stop the bleed. Like, that's a good pack to have on the range. I would probably recommend that for the range, but keep your tourniquets separate. Keep your tourniquets at arm's reach, because if something happens downrange and this isn't right next to you, you're going to go down. You're going to have to go up range. You're going to have to get situated. And, man, like I said, seconds count. Every second counts. Now, this is one that I carry in my pack. Basically it's a boo-boo kit is all it is. It's just got your antiseptics, your blister kit. I've put in some zip sutures, which not a lot of these packs have like zip sutures. And what that is, it's just basically speed closures that you can legit get on Amazon. Not a big deal. It's from Sinvac. But it's emergency wound closures, and basically it's almost like a Band-Aid that you put on, and then you close the gap for small cuts and smaller, deeper cuts. So I do like using those. I've used those a couple of times in the backcountry, and they are very handy to use. You can use them yourself, which I really like. So that'll go with me. This does stay in my truck. It's a nice little package. It looks good. But it has most of everything. They also have a hydration mod. So it's got some hydration packets in here too. I don't go into these that often. And if I go into them, I replace. You always have to replace. I always replace what I take out. So always go through it. And that would be another great idea for you before the season begins, before you start, heading out in the backcountry and doing your hunting, or before you start filling feeders or doing your workout in the field. Always maintain your medical supplies, maintain your kit, because the better you take care of it, the better it will take care of you if you need it. Okay, so this little first aid kit here, it's the Sportsman's Kit. I think I requested this on a Christmas. I think this is something I put on my Christmas list, and they were crazy enough and bought it, and I've legit like took half everything out of it and got rid of it, and I put my own stuff in there, stuff that I really like, zip sutures. I do have some. So what's the whatever the powder calls, like the aspirin powder. It typically works a little bit faster. But yeah, Band-Aids, after cuts and scrapes, alcohol wipes. I've even put in like little, like some dude wipes, like some individual dude wipes just in case. And then I do have like your Zyrtex and your Benadryls and stuff like that, just so I can throw it in. And man, because I'm taking my boys hunting more often, and if they get stung by a bee or anything like that, man, I can stop it right there. It's not always, we don't need to look at all the supplies as, okay, you have to have your chest seals and you have to have, your gauze and these big things of gauze taking up space. A lot of times it's the little emergencies that are just an inconvenience that make hunts miserable. Whether it's like getting stung on the face and your eyes start to close up, and now like you're not gonna be able to hunt because you can't see. So it's just little stuff like that you need to take in consideration. And if you get one of these packs in and you don't know where to start, if you don't understand, like, okay, I understand all this stuff's in here, I don't understand what it's all used for. What I would recommend is getting a buddy, and having them go through it with you. Just have if you have an RN that can go through some of this stuff they're phenomenal. I've got a couple of buddies. I've got an EMT medic, and I've got a firefighter. Man, I'll take him one of these kits and I'll go, hey man, what do you think about this? And he goes, well, you don't need this. You don't need this. You don't need, he'll start pulling stuff out. And then my next question immediately is, okay, what do you like? What do you want to use? And these guys who hunt, they understand emergency situations and how to best attack those. So seek advice, and again, familiarize yourself with your equipment. We do that every day. We go through our packs nonstop. We shoot our guns nonstop, but rarely is the time when we sit down and we look at our medical supplies and go, does this work for what I need it for? This big pack right here, man, great for the truck, but I would recommend, again, having those tourniquets at arm's length. But this has everything you need. Like if you come up on a car accident, think of stuff like that. It's not always what happens in the backcountry. Sometimes it's what happens leading up to the backcountry that you might need this medical supplies. We're going to drop a couple of things in the links, the links in the description below. You guys feel free to run down there, check it out, get a system that works right for you. And I want to hear from you. I don't think I say this on the podcast often enough, but my email is kj@guntalk.com. If you have something that you want to add to this, I'm happy to listen because we're all in this together. I'm always learning. If I stop learning, that is the moment when I just need to shut my mouth and go back to my easy chair, because this is what we're all about. We want to help each other get better and be safer in the backcountry or on the hunt. So, that being said, you guys know the drill. Keep those muzzles pointed in a safe direction and always be on the hunt.